Okay. Hello everybody. Oh my gosh, I forgot my pants are still broken. Welcome back to the stream. And to the Minecraft server. Goodness. I need to make some pants for one thing. Maybe I'll do that first. Totally forgot about that being a thing. Okay, as the stream title says, I'm going to be doing a bit of note block work. One second, let me go and hold on a second. So I believe I need dirt and wood. I must have put that stuff up. I need gold blocks. Dirt, wood. I might need more wood. Who knows? Let me move everything over. So this is where my note block song is gonna be. I'm not gonna have it set up to my door because I don't want it going off every time I walk in. But I do want it to just be able to like come over here. I'll have a book in this lectern. When you press the like next page button, it's going to do that. Oh, I already have dirt under all these. I forgot I did that. Let me check the video that I was watching. I think that was this one. Oh, I didn't see that. Hold on, let me check the Discord. Oh, what the heck? You can click on people's names like that? Sit in VC when you can be muted for just straight up don't listen. You know what, maybe that will be what we listen to. How do I mute? Oh, here we go. I will listen. Where was the chat at? Actually, let me put this in the general chat. Okay, let me look at what I was doing. Okay, I'm gonna do the right clicks first. So this first one looks like it's $13. $16. Hold on. Is this what I do? Oh, okay. Let me see, how do I turn the audio up? There we go. Hopefully you guys can hear that. Let me see, I think I was told earlier what this book was titled.
I'm starting to fucking think like Mary Cat. Like, dead ass. I was in the bathroom and I was like thinking about what I have to do tomorrow. I was like, tomorrow's tidying up today. Tomorrow's I clean my fucking door. I was like, this is not how I think. I need to stop adopting mannerisms based on the shit I read or just experience in general. No mannerisms. No new mannerisms allowed. Putting more sugar in my coffee because I want it. Yes, it's 9 p.m. It's okay. I'll just... Tomorrow's Sunday. I don't need to be awake. If I read this, I won't have to kill myself. I can just drug myself so I can go to sleep. If I drug myself, I mean, Mix the fucker. She asked what she's gonna do with the fucking figurine. Put it back where it belongs, she said, and I followed her as she opened the door to the hall and made her way down the hall to the drawing room doorway. The hall was less littered than the rooms because there had been less in it to smash, but there were fragments carried from the kitchen. I need to plug in my phone. Book-ass thing.
Okay, it looks like the story is titled, We Have Always Lived in the Castle.
There are fragments from the kitchen, and when we stepped on spoons and dishes which had been thrown here, I was shocked when we came into the drawing room to see our mother's portrait looking down on us graciously, while her drawing room lay destroyed around her. The white wedding cake trim was blackened with smoke and soot and would never be clean again. I disliked seeing the drawing room even more than the kitchen or the dining room, because we had always kept it so tidy and our mother had loved this room. I wondered which of them had pushed over Constance's harp, and I remembered that I had heard it cry out as it fell. The rose brocade, fucking cade, I don't fucking know. I never know how that word is said. On the chair, fuck it.
Brocade.
It is brocade. That's brow, dumb bitch. Whatever. The rose brocade on the chairs was torn and dirty, smudged with the marks of wet feet that had kicked at the chairs and stamped on the sofa. The windows were broken here too, and with the drapes torn down, we were clearly visible from outside. I think I can close the shutters, I said as Constance hesitated in the doorway, unwilling to come further into the room. I stepped out onto the porch through the broken window, thinking no one had ever come this way before, and found that I could unhook the shutters easily. The shutters were as tall as the windows. Originally, it was intended that a man with a ladder would close the shutters when the summers ended, and the family went away to a city house, but so many years had passed since the shutters were closed that the hooks had rusted, and I needed only to shake the heavy shutters to pull the hooks away from the house. I swung the shutters closed, but I could only reach the lower bolt to hold them. There were 2 more bolts high above my head. Perhaps some night I would come out here with the ladder, but the lower bolt would have to hold them for now. Hold them now. After I'd closed the shutters on both tall drawing room windows, I went along the porch and in, formally through the front door and into the drawing room where Constance stood in dimness now, without the sunlight. Constance went to the mantel and set the Dresden figurine in its place below the portrait of our mother, and for one quick minute, the great shadowy room came back together again, as it should be, and then fell apart forever. We had to walk carefully because of the broken things on the floor. Our father safely just inside the drawing room door, and I laughed, and even Constance smiled because it had not been opened, and it had clearly not been possible to carry any farther than this. That's so funny. Fuck you, Charles. Dumb bitch. Foolishness, Constance said, and touched the safe with her toe. Our mother had always been pleased when people admired her drawing room, but no one could come to the windows and look in, and no one would ever see it again. Constance and I closed the drawing room door behind us and never opened it afterwards. Constance waited just inside the front door while I went onto the porch again and closed the shutters over the tall dining room windows. And then I came inside and we shut and locked the front door and we were safe. The hall was dark with 2 narrow lines of sunlight coming through the 2 narrow glass panels set either side of the door. And we could look outside through the glass, but no one could see in, even by putting their eyes up close. Fucking fly. Because the hall inside was dark. Above us, the stars were black and led into blackness, or a roof. Wait. Above us, the stars were black and led into blackness or burned rooms with incredibly tiny spots of sky showing through. Until now, the roof had always hid us from the sky, but I did not think that there was any way we could be vulnerable from above, and closed my mind against the thought of silent winged creatures coming out of the trees above to perch on the broken, burnt rafters of our house, peering down. I thought it might be wise to barricade the stairs by putting something, a broken chair perhaps, across. A mattress soaked and dirty, lay halfway down the stairs. This is what they had stood on. Stood with the hoses and fought the fire back and out. This was where they had stood with the hoses and fought the fire back and out. I stood at the foot of the stairs, looking up, wondering where our house had gone. The walls and the floors and the beds and the boxes of things in the attic. Our father's watch was burned away, and our mother's tortoiseshell dressing set. I could feel a breath of air on my cheek. It came from the sky, I could see, but it smelled of smoke and ruin. Our house was a castle, turreted and open to the sky. Come back to the kitchen, Constance said. I'm highlighting that shit. I can't stay out here. You piece of fucking shit. Fucking shit. Okay. Like children hunting for shells, or 2 old ladies going through dead leaves looking for pennies, we shuffled along the kitchen floor with our feet, turning over broken trash to find things which were still whole and useful. When we had been along and across and diagonally through the kitchen, we had gathered together a little pile of practical things on the kitchen table, and there were quite enough for the 2 of us. There were 2 cups with handles, and several without, and half a dozen plates and 3 bowls. We had been able to rescue all the cans of food undamaged, and the cans of spice went neatly back onto their shelf. We found most of the silverware and straightened most of it as well as we could, and put it back into its proper drawer. Since every Blackwood bride had brought her own silverware and china and linen into the house, we had always had dozens of butter knives and soup ladles and cake servers. Our mother's best silverware had been put in a tarnish-proof box in the dining room sideboard, but they had found it and scattered it on the floor. One of our whole cups was green with a pale yellow inside, and Constance said that one could be mine. I never saw anyone use that before, she said. I suppose a grandmother or a great-great-aunt brought that set to the house as her wedding china. There once were plates to match. The cup which Constance chose was white with orange flowers, and one of the plates matched that. I remember when we used those dishes, Constance said. They were the everyday china when I was very small. The china we used for best then was white, with gold edges. Then Mother bought new best china, and the white and gold china was used for every day, and these flower dishes went into the pantry shelf with the other half-broken sets. These last few years I've always used Mother's everyday china, except when Helen Clark came to tea. We will take our meals like ladies, but she said using cups with handles. When we had taken out everything we wanted and could use, Constance got the heavy broom and swept all of the rubble into the dining room. Now we won't have to look at it, she said. She swept the hall clear so we could go from the kitchen to the front door without passing through the dining room, and then we closed all the doors to the dining room and never opened them again. I thought of the Dresden figurine standing small and courageous under our mother's portrait. Who the fuck has an insane fucking subwoofer that is fucking blaring? It's like vibrating my eardrums. Fucking go away, you fucking big-ass truck with your fucking tiny dick. Anyways. And I remember that we would never dust it again. Before Constance swept away the torn cloth that had been the drawing room drapes, I asked her to cut me off a piece of the cord which had once drawn them open and shut, and she cut me a piece with a gold tassel on the end. I wondered if it might be the right thing to bury for Uncle Julian. When we had finished and Constance had scrubbed the kitchen floor, our house looked clean and new. From the front door to the kitchen door, everything was clear and swept. So many things were gone from the kitchen that had looked bare, but Constance put our cups and plates and bowls on a shelf, and found a pan to give Jonas milk, and we were quite safe. The front door was locked and the kitchen door was locked and bolted, and we were sitting at the kitchen table drinking milk from our 2 cups, and Jonas was drinking from his pan when a knocking started on the front door. Constance ran to the cellar, and I stopped just long enough to be sure that the kitchen door was bolted, and then followed her. We sat on the cellar stairs into the darkness and listened. Far away at the front of the door, the knocking went on, and then a voice called, "Constance? Mary Catherine?" "Helen Clark," Constance said in a whisper. "Do you think she's come here for tea? Come for her tea?" No, never again. As we both had known she would, she came around the house calling us. When she knocked on the kitchen door, we held our breath, neither of us moving, because the top half of the kitchen door was glass and we knew she could see in, but we were safely on the cellar stairs and she could not open the door. "Constance, Mary Catherine, are you in there?" She shook the door handle as people do when they want a door to open and think to catch it unaware and slip in before the lock can hold. That's good. "Jim," she said, "I know they're in there. I can see something cooking on the stove. You've got to open the door," she said, raising her voice. "Constance, come and talk to me. I want to see you." "Jim," she said, "they're in there and they can hear me. I know it." "I'm sure they can hear you," Jim Clark said. "They can probably hear you in the village." "Nagging ass husband. They can probably hear you yelling in the village." "But I'm sure they misunderstood the people last night. I'm sure Constance was upset. And I must tell them that nobody meant any harm. Bitch, they broke their fucking house!" "Constance, listen to me, please. We want you and Mary Catherine to come to our house until we can decide what to do with you. Everything's alright, it really is. We're going to forget all about it." "Do you think she'll push over the house?" I whispered to Constance, and Constance shook her head wordlessly. "Jim, do you think you could break down the door?" "Certainly not. Leave them alone, Helen. They'll come out when they're ready." Shout out to Jim. What a king. But Constance takes these things so seriously. I'm sure she's frightened now. Leave them alone. They cannot be left alone. That is absolutely the worst possible thing for them. I want them out of there and home with me where I can take care of them, matronly asked bitch. "They don't seem to want to come," Jim Clark said. Constance, I know you're in there. Come and open the door." I was thinking that we might very well put a cloth or a piece of cardboard over the window on the kitchen door. It simply would not do to have Helen Clark constantly peering in to watch pots cooking on the stove. We could pin the curtains together across the kitchen windows, and perhaps if the windows were all covered, we could sit quietly at the table when Helen Clark came pounding outside and not have to hide on the cellar doors. Oh my fucking god, my brain. $20 more. This sucks. It's 10. I hate this. Let's leave, Jim Clark said. They're not gonna answer you. But I want to take them home with me. They're not fucking stray dogs, bitch. We did what we could. We'll come back another time when they'll feel more like seeing you. Constance, please answer me. Constance sighed and tapped her fingers irritably and almost noiselessly on the stairwell. Wish she'd hurry, she said into my ear. My soup is going to boil over. Helen Clark called again and again, going back around the house to their car, calling Constance, as though we might be waiting somewhere in the woods, up a tree perhaps, or under the lettuce leaves, or waiting to spring out at her from behind a bush. When we heard their car start distantly, we came up out of the cellar, and Constance turned off her soup, and I went along the hall to the front door to be sure they had gone and that the door was safely locked. I saw their car turn out of the driveway, and I thought I could still hear Helen Clark calling, Constance. She certainly wanted her tea, I said to Constance when I came back to the kitchen. We only have 2 cups with handles, Constance said. She'll never take tea here again. It's a good thing Uncle Julian's gone, or one of us would have to use a broken cup. Are you going to neat in Uncle Julian's room? What a fucked up thing to say. Mary Katz, Constance turned from the stove to look at me. What are we gonna do? We've neatened the house, we've had food, we've hidden from Helen Clark. What are we going to do? Where are we going to sleep? How are we going to know what time it is? What will we wear for clothes? Why do we need to know what time it is? Our food won't last forever, even the preserves. We can sleep in a hiding place by the creek. No, that's alright for hiding, but you must have a real bed. I saw a mattress on the stairs from our own old bed, perhaps. We can pull it down and clean it and dry it in the sun. One corner is burned. Good, said Constance. We went together to the stairs and took hold of the mattress awkwardly. It was unpleasantly wet and dirty. We dragged it, pulling together across the hall, little scraps of wood and glass coming with it, and got it across Constance's clean kitchen floor to the kitchen door. Before unlocking the door, I looked out carefully, and even when the door was open, I went out first to look around in every direction, but it was safe. We dragged the mattress out onto the lawn and put it in the sun near our mother's marble bench. Uncle Julian used to sit right here, I said. It would be a good day today for Uncle Julian to sit in the sun. I hope he was warm when he died. Perhaps he remembered the sun for a minute. I had his shawl. I hope he didn't wish for it, Mary Cat. I'm going to plant something here where he used to sit. I'm going to bury something for him. What will you plant? A flower. Constance leaned and touched the grass softly. Some kind of yellow flower. It's going to look funny right in the middle of the lawn. We'll know why it's there, and no one else will ever see it. And I will bury something yellow to keep Uncle Julian warm. First, however, for my lazy Mary Cat, you will get a pot of water and scrub that mattress clean. And I will wash the kitchen floor again. I'm gonna get so compulsive. We were going to be very happy, I thought. There were a great many things to do and a whole new pattern of days to arrange, but I thought we were going to be very happy. Constance was pale, still saddened by what they had done to her kitchen, but she scrubbed every shelf, washed the table again and again, washed the windows and the floor. Our dishes were bravely on their shelf, and the cans and unbroken rows of food we had rescued made a substantial row in the pantry. I could train Jonas to bring back rabbits for stew, I told her, and she laughed. Jonas looked back at her blandly. Jonas is pissed. Jonas is like, I could fucking get rabbits, fuck you. That cat is so used to living on cream and rum cakes and buttered eggs that I doubt he could catch a grasshopper, she said. I don't think I could care for a grasshopper stew. At any rate, now I am making an onion pie. While Constance washed the kitchen, I found a heavy cardboard carton, which I took apart carefully, and so had several large pieces of cardboard to cover the glass window and in the kitchen door. The hammer and nails were in the tool shed where Charles Blackwood had put them after trying them in the broken steps, so I nailed cardboard across the kitchen door until the glass was completely covered, and no one could see in. I nailed more cardboard across the 2 kitchen windows, and the kitchen was dark but safe. It would be safer to let the kitchen windows get dirty, I told Constance, but she was shocked. I wouldn't live in a house with dirty windows. All of her windows are broken, girl. When we had finished, the kitchen was very clean, but could not sparkle because there was so little light, and I knew Constance was not pleased. She loved sunshine and brightness and cooking in a light, lovely kitchen. Keep the door open, I said, if we watch carefully all the time. We'll hear if any cars stop in front of the house. When I can, I said, I'll try to think of a way to build barricades around the sides of the house so no one will be able to come around here to the back. I'm sure Helen Clark will try again. At any rate, she cannot look in now. The afternoon was drawing in. Even with the door open, the sunlight came only a short way across the floor, and Jonas came to Constance at the stove, asking for his supper. My head hurts. The kitchen was warm and comfortable and familiar The kitchen was warm and comfortable and familiar and clean. It would be nice to have a fireplace in here. I thought we could sit beside a fire, and then I thought, no, we have already had a fire. I will go and make sure that the front door is locked, I said. The front door was locked and no one was outside. When I came back into the kitchen, Constance said, tomorrow I will clean Uncle Julian's room. He has so little house left that it should all be very clean. Will you sleep in there in Uncle Julian's bed? No, Mary Cat, I want you to sleep in there. It's the only bed we have. I'm not allowed in Uncle Julian's room. She was quiet for a minute, looking at me curiously, and then asked, even though Uncle Julian's gone, Mary Cat? Besides, I found the mattress and cleaned it, and it came from my bed. I want it on the floor in my corner. Silly Mary Cat. Anyway, I'm afraid we'll both have the floor tonight. The mattresses will not dry before tomorrow, and Uncle Julian's bed is not clean. I can bring branches from my hiding place and leaves. On my clean kitchen floor. On my clean kitchen floor? I'll get the blanket, though, and Uncle Julian's shirt. You're going out now, all that way? No one's outside, I said. It's almost dark and I can go very safely. If anyone comes, I'll close the door and lock it. If I see the door is closed, I will wait by the creek until I can come safely home, and I will take Jonas for protection. I ran all the way to the creek, but Jonas was faster and was waiting for me when I got to my hiding space. It was good to run. Good to come back again to our house and see the kitchen door standing open and the warm light inside. When Jonas and I came in, I shut the door and bolted it, and we were ready for the night. It's a good dinner, Constance said, warm and happy from cooking. Come and sit down, Mary Cat. With the door shut, she had to turn on the ceiling light. Oh, okay, so they have electricity. And our dishes on the table were neatly set. Tomorrow I will try to polish the silverware, she said, and we must bring in things from the garden. The lettuce is full of ashes. Tomorrow, too, Constance said, looking at the black squares of cardboard which covered the windows. I'm going to try to think of some curtains to hide your cardboard. Tomorrow we'll barricade the sides of the house. Tomorrow Jonas will catch us a rabbit. Tomorrow I will guess for you what time it is. Far away in the front of the house, a car stopped and we were silent, looking at one another. Now, I thought, we will know how safe we are. And I got up to make sure that the kitchen door was bolted. I could not see out through the cardboard, and I was sure that they could not see in. The knocking started at the front door, but there was no time to make sure that the front door was locked. It is, girl. Stop being so compulsive. They knocked only for a moment, as though certain we would not be in the front of the house, and then we heard them stumbling in the darkness as they tried to find their way around the side of the house back. I heard Jim Clark's voice, and another, which I remembered as the voice of Dr. Levy, whatever the fuck. Can't see a thing, Jim Clark said. Black as sin out here. Black as sin out here? There's a crack of light at one of the windows. Which one, I wondered? Which window still showed a crack? They're in there all right, Jim Clark said. No place else they could be. I just want to know if they're hurt or sick. I don't think of them shut up in there needing help. I'm supposed to bring them home with me, Jim Clark said. They came to the back door. Their voices were directly outside, and Constance reached her hand across the table to me. If it seemed that they might be able to look in, we could run together for the cellar. Damn place is all boarded up, Jim Clark said. I thought, good. Hope that's good. I had forgotten that there would be real boards in the tool shed. I never thought of anything but cardboard. It's just too weak. Miss Blackwood, the doctor called, and one of them knocked on the door. Miss Blackwood, it's Dr. Levy. And Jim Clark, Helen's husband. Helen is very worried about you. Are you hurt? Sick? Do you need help? Helen wants you to come to our house. She's waiting there for you. Listen, the doctor said, and I thought he had his face up very close to the glass, almost touching it. He talked in a very friendly voice and quietly. Listen, no one's going to hurt you. We're your friends. We came all the way over here to help you and make sure you were all right. We don't want to bother you. As a matter of fact, we promise not to bother you at all ever again if you'll just once say that you're well and safe. Just one word. You can't just let people go on worrying and worrying about you, Jim Clark said. Just one word, the doctor said. All you have to do is say you're all right. They waited. I could feel them pressing their faces close to the glass, longing to see inside. Constance looked at me across the table and smiled a little. I smiled back. Our safeguards were good and they could not see in. Listen, the doctor said, and he raised his voice a little. Listen, Julian's funeral is tomorrow. We thought you'd want to know. There are a lot of flowers already, Jim Clark said. You'd be really pleased to see all the flowers. We sent flowers and Wrights and the Carringtons. I think you'd feel a little different about your friends if you could see the flowers we all sent Julian. I wondered why we would feel different if we sent Uncle Julian flowers. Certainly Uncle Julian buried in flowers, swarmed over by flowers, would not resemble the Uncle Julian we had seen every day. Perhaps masses of flowers would warm Uncle Julian dead. I tried to think of Uncle Julian dead and could only remember him asleep. I thought of the Clarks and the Carringtons and the Wrights pouring armfuls of flowers down onto poor old Uncle Julian, hopelessly dead. Fuck. My mouth hurts. Talking sucks. I never speak while, enunciating this much. I'm not used to it. I need to get used to it, though, because I'm gonna spend, a week at a job fair doing this shit and talking the same way. And I can't be sore and hurting then. I also need to probably not have an accent then, which I don't normally do, but only when I get tired or settled into a story. Ow. Anyways. You're not gaining anything by driving away your friends, you know. Helen said to tell you, listen, I could feel them pushing against the door. No one's gonna bother you. Just tell us, are you alright? We're not gonna keep coming, you know. There's a limit to how much friends can take. Jesus Christ. Jonas yawned. In silence, Constance turned, slowly and carefully, back to face her place at the table, and took up a buttered biscuit, and took a tiny silent bite. I wanted to laugh and put my hands over my mouth. Constance eating a biscuit silently was funny, like a doll pretending to eat. Damn it, Jim Clark said. He knocked on the door. Damn it, he said. For the last time, the doctor said. We know you're in there. For the last time, will you just... Oh, come away, Jim Clark said. It's not worth all the yelling. Listen, the doctor said, and I thought he had his mouth against the door. One of these days you're going to need help. You'll be sick or hurt. You'll need help. Then you'll be quick enough to leave that be, Jim Clark said. Come on. I heard their footsteps around the side of the house and wondered if they were tricking us, pretending to walk away and then coming silently back to stand without sound against the door, outside the door waiting. Oh my fucking god. I thought of Constance silently eating a biscuit inside and Jim Clark silently listening outside, and a little cold chill went up my back. Perhaps there would never be noise in the world again. Then the car started at the front of the house and we heard it drive away, and Constance put her fork down on the plate with a little crash, and I breathed again and said, Where have they got Uncle Julian, do you suppose? At the same place, Constance said absently. In the city. Merricat, she said, looking up suddenly. Yes, Constance? I want to say I'm sorry. I was wicked last night. I was still a cold, looking at her and remembering. I was very wicked, she said. I never should have reminded you of why they all died. And don't remind me now. I could not move my hand to reach over and take hers. I wanted you to forget about it. I never wanted to speak about it ever, and I'm sorry I did. I put it in the sugar. I know, I knew then. You never use sugar. No. So I put it in the sugar. Constance sighed. Merricat, she said, we'll never talk about it again. Never. I was chilled, but she smiled at me kindly, and it was alright. I love you, Constance, I said. How the fuck would she never use sugar? It's sugar. She cooks every meal. Whatever. And I love you, my Merricat. Jonas sat on the floor and slept on the floor, and I thought it ought not to be so difficult for me. Constance should have had leaves and soft moss under her blanket, but we could not dirty the kitchen floor again. I put my blanket in the corner near my stool because it was the place I knew best, and Jonas got up onto the stool and sat there, looking down at me. Constance lay on the floor near the stove. It was dark, and I could see the paleness of her face across the kitchen. Are you comfortable? I asked her, and she laughed. I spent a lot of time in this kitchen, she said, but I never before tried lying on its floor. I've taken such good care of it that it has to make me welcome, I think. Tomorrow we bring in lettuce. Oh, I'm fucking out of water. Almost done. Slowly the pattern of our days grew and shaped itself into a happy life. In the mornings when I awakened, I would go out at once down the hall to make sure the front door was locked. We were most active in the very early morning because no one was ever around. We had not realized that, with the gates open and the path exposed to public use, the children would come. One morning I stood beside the front door looking out through the narrow pane of glass and saw children playing on our front lawn. Perhaps the children had sent them to explore the way and make sure it was navigable, or perhaps the children can never resist playing anywhere. They seemed a little uneasy playing in front of our house, and their voices were subdued. I thought perhaps they were only pretending to play because they were children and were supposed to play, but perhaps they were actually sent here to look for us, thinly disguised as children. They were not really convincing, I decided as I watched them. They moved gracelessly and never once glanced that I could see at our house. I wondered how soon they would creep onto the porch and press their small faces against the shutters, trying to see through the cracks. Constance came up behind me and looked over my shoulder. "They're children of strangers," I told her. "They have no faces. They have eyes. Pretend they're birds. They can't see us. They don't know it yet. They don't want to believe it, but they won't ever see us again." Jesus, I'm turning fucking Sutter. Suppose now that they've come once, they'll come again. All the strangers will come. They can't see inside. And now, may I please have my breakfast? The kitchen was always dark in the mornings, until I unbolted the kitchen door and opened it to let the sunlight in. Then Jonas went to sit on the step and bathe, and Constance sang while she made our breakfast. After breakfast, I sat on the step with Jonas while Constance washed the kitchen. Barricading the sides of the house had been easier than I expected. I managed it in one night with Constance holding a flashlight for me. At either side of our house, there was a spot where the trees and bushes grew close to the house, sheltering the back and narrowing the path, which was the only way around. I brought piece after piece from the pile of junk Mr. Harler had made on our front porch and heaped the broken boards and furniture across the narrowest spot. It would not really keep anybody out, of course. The children could climb over it easily, but if anyone did try to get past there, it would be enough noise and falling of broken boards to give us plenty of time to close and bolt the kitchen door. I had found some boards around the tool shed and nailed them rudely across the glass of the kitchen door, but I just liked putting them across the sides of the house as a barricade, where anyone might see them and know how clumsily I built. Perhaps, I told myself, I might try my hand at mending the broken step. "What are you laughing about now?" Constance asked me. "I'm thinking that we are on the moon, but it's not quite what I supposed it would be." "It is a very happy place, though." Constance was bringing breakfast to the table, scrambled eggs and toasted biscuits and blackberry jam she had made some golden summer. We ought to bring in as much food as we can," she said. "I don't like to think of the garden waiting for us to come and gather growing things. And I'd feel much better if we had more food put securely away in the house. I will go on my winged horse and bring you cinnamon and thyme, emeralds and clove, cloth of golden cabbages, and rhubarb." We were able to leave the kitchen door open when we went down to the vegetable garden because we could see clearly whether anyone was approaching my barricades and run back into the house if we needed to. I carried the basket and we brought back lettuce, still gray with ash, and radishes, and tomatoes and cucumbers, and later berries and melons. Usually I ate fruit and vegetables still moist from the ground and the air, but I disliked eating anything while it still was dirty from ash from our burnt house. Yeah, fucking everybody does. Ash doesn't taste good. Most of the dirt and the soot had blown away, and the air around the garden was fresh and clean, but the smoke was in the ground, and I thought it would always be there. My cheeks hurt. As soon as we were safely settled, Constance had opened Uncle Julian's room and cleaned it. She brought out the sheets from Uncle Julian's bed and the blankets, washed them in the kitchen sink, and set them outside to dry in the sunlight. "What are you going to do with Uncle Julian's papers?" I asked her, and she rested her hands against the edge of the sink, hesitating. "I suppose I'll keep them all in the box," she said at last. "I suppose I'll put the box down in the cellar. And preserve it? And preserve it. He would not like to think that his papers were treated He would like to think that his papers were treated respectfully, and I would not want to think... Oh my fucking god. And I would not want Uncle Julian to suspect that his papers were not preserved. I'd better go and see that the front door is locked." "It is, girl, you don't go out it." The children were often outside on our front lawn playing their still games and not looking at our house, moving awkwardly in little dashing runs and slapping one another without cause. Jesus. I keep hearing my own voice. Whenever I checked to make sure that the front door was locked, I looked out to see if the children were there. Very often I saw people walking on our path now, using it to go from one place to another and putting their feet down where once only my feet had gone. I thought they used the path without wanting to, as though each of them had to travel at once to show it could be done. But I thought only a few of the defiant hating ones came by more than once. I dreamed away the long afternoon while Constance cleaned Uncle Julian's room. I sat on the doorstep with Jonas asleep beside me and looked out on the quiet, safe garden. Look, Mary Cat, Constance said, coming to me with an armful of clothes. Look, Uncle Julian had 2 suits atop and a... Bless you, brother. That was loud as shit. Uncle Julian had 2 suits, a topcoat, and a hat. He walked upright once. He told us so himself. I can just barely remember him, years ago, going off one day to buy a suit, and I suppose it was one of these suits he bought. They're neither of them much worn. What would he have been wearing on the last day with them? What tie did he have on at dinner? He would surely like to have it remembered. She looked at me for a minute, not smiling. It would hardly have been one of these. When I came to get him afterwards at the hospital, he was wearing pajamas and a robe. Perhaps he should have one of these suits now. He was probably buried in an old suit of Jim Clark's. Constance started for the cellar and stopped. Mary Cat? Yes, Constance? Do you realize that these things of Uncle Julian's are the only clues left in our house? All of mine burned, and all yours. And everything others in the attic. Jesus fucking Christ. I have only this pink dress I have on. I look down, and I'm wearing brown. Yours needs washing and mending. How can you tear your clothes so, Mary Cat? My Mary Cat. I shall weave a suit of leaves at once with acorns for buttons. Mary Cat, be serious. We will have to wear Uncle Julian's clothes. I'm not allowed to touch Uncle Julian's things. I shall have a lining of moss for cold winter days and a hat made of bird feathers. That may be all very well for the moon, Miss Foolishness. On the moon you may wear a suit of fur like Jonas. For all of me. Huh? On the moon, you may wear a suit of fur like Jonas. For all of me. Whatever. Oh, for nobody else but me. But right here in our house, you are going to be clothed in one of your Uncle Julian's old shirts and perhaps his trousers too. Or Uncle Julian's bathrobe and pajamas, I suppose. No, I'm not allowed to touch Uncle Julian's things. I will wear leaves. But you are allowed. I tell you that you are allowed. No. She sighed. Well, she said, you'll probably see me wearing them. And she stopped and laughed and looked at me and laughed again. Constance? I said. She put Uncle Julian's clothes over the back of a chair and, still laughing, went to the pantry and opened one of the drawers. I remembered what she was after and laughed too. Then she came back and put an armlet of tablecloths down beside me. These will do you very nicely, elegant Mary Cat. Look, how will you feel in this with a border of yellow flowers, or this handsome red and white check? The damask, I'm afraid, is too stiff for comfort, and besides, it has been darned. Yeah. I stood up and held the red and white checkered tablecloth against me. You can cut a hole for my head, I said, and I was pleased. I have no sewing things. You will simply have to tie it around your waist with a cord and let it hang like a toga. I will use the damask as a cloak, for a cloak. Who else wears a damask cloak? Mary Cat, Constance dropped the tablecloth she was holding and put her arms around me. What have I done to my baby Mary Cat? She said. No house, no food, and dressed in a tablecloth. What have I done? Constance, I said. I love you, Constance. Dressed in a tablecloth like a rag doll. Constance, we are going to be very happy, Constance. Oh, Mary Cat, she said, holding me. Listen to me, Constance. We're going to be very happy. I dressed at once, not wanting to give Constance more time to think. I chose the red and I chose the red and white check, and when Constance had cut a hole for my head, I took my gold cord with the tassel that Constance had cut from the drawing room drapes and tied it around me for a belt, and looked, I thought, very fine. Constance was sad at first, and turned away sadly when she saw me, and scrubbed furiously at the sink to get my brown dress clean, but I'd like my robe and dance in it, and before long she smiled again and laughed at me. Robinson Crusoe dressed in the skins of animals, I told her. He had no gay cloths with the gold belt. Gay cloths. Okay, girl. Ain't nothing wrong with gay cloths. I must say you never looked so bright before. You'll be wearing the skins of Uncle Julian. I prefer my tablecloths. Insane fucking phrase. Clothing, child. Calm the fuck down. I believe the one you are wearing now was used for summer breakfast on the lawn many years ago. Red and white check would never be used in the dining room, of course. Some days I shall be a summer breakfast on the lawn, and some days I shall be a formal dinner by candlelight, and some days I shall be a very dirty Mary Cat. You have a fine gown, but your face is dirty. We have lost almost everything, young lady, but at least we still have clean water and a comb. One thing was most lucky about Uncle Julian's room. I persuaded Constance to bring out his chair and wheel it through the garden to reinforce my barricade. It looked so strange to see Constance wheeling the empty chair, and for a minute I tried to see Uncle Julian again, riding with his hands in his lap, but all that remained of Uncle Julian's presence were the worn spots on the chair and a handkerchief tucked under the cushion. Fuck. The chair would be powerful in my barricade, however, staring out always at intruders with the blank menace of dead Uncle Julian. I was troubled to think that Uncle Julian might vanish altogether, with his papers in a box and his chair on the barricade and his toothbrush thrown away, and even the smell of Uncle Julian gone from his room. But when the ground was soft, Constance planted a yellow rose bush at Uncle Julian's spot on the lawn, and one night I went down to the creek and buried Uncle Julian's initialed gold pencil by the water, so the creek would always speak his name. Fucking good. Jonas took to going into Uncle Julian's room, where he had never gone before, but I did not go inside. Helen Clark came to our door twice more, knocking and calling and begging us to answer, but we sat quietly, and when she found that she could not come around the house because of my barricade, she told us from the front door that she would not come back, and she did not. One evening, perhaps the evening of the day Constance planted Uncle Julian's rose bush, we heard a very soft knock at our front door while we sat at the table eating dinner. It was far too soft a knock for Helen Clark, and I left the table and hurried silently down the hall to be sure the front door was locked, and Constance followed me curious. We pressed silently against the door and listened. "Miss Blackwood?" someone said outside in a low voice. I wondered if he suspected we were so close to him. "Miss Constance? Miss Mary Catherine?" It was not quite dark outside, but inside where we stood we could only see one another dimly, two white faces against the door. "Miss Constance," he said. "Again, listen." I thought that he was moving his head from side to side to make sure he was not seen. "Listen," he said, "I got a chicken here." He tapped softly on the door. "I hope you can hear me. I got a chicken here. My wife fixed it, roasted it nice, and there's some cookies in the pie. I hope you can hear me." I could see that Constance's eyes were wide with wonder. I stared at her and she stared at me. "I hope you can hear me, Miss Blackwood. I broke one of your chairs. I'm sorry." He tapped against the door again, very softly. "Well," he said, "I'll just set this basket down on your step here. I hope you've heard me. Goodbye." We listened to quiet footsteps going away, and after a minute, Constance said, "What should we do? Should we open the door?" "Later," I said. "I'll come when it's really dark." "I wonder what kind of pie it is. Do you think it's as good as my pies?" We finished our dinner and waited until I was sure no one could possibly see the front door opening, and then we went down the hall and I unlocked the door and looked outside. The basket sat on the doorstep, covered with a napkin. I brought it inside and locked the door while Constance took the basket from me and carried it into the kitchen. "Blueberry," she said when I came. "Quite good too, it's still warm. Do you think they fucking poisoned them? That would be wild." Nah, there's still like 10 fucking pages left. She took out the chicken, wrapped in a napkin, and the little package of cookies, touching each lovingly with gentleness. "Everything's still warm," she said. "She must have baked them right after dinner, so he could bring them right over. I wonder if she made 2 pies, one for the house." She wrapped everything while it was still warm and told him to bring them over. His cookies are not crisp enough. "I'll take the basket back and leave it on the porch so he'll know we found it." No, Constance caught me by the arm. "Not until I've washed the napkins. What would she think of me?" Sometimes they brought bacon, home-cured, or fruit with their own preserves, which were never as good as the preserves Constance made. Mostly they brought roast chicken, sometimes a cake or a pie, frequently cookies, sometimes a potato salad or coleslaw. Once they brought a pot of beef stew, which Constance took apart and put back together again according to her own rules for beef stew. And sometimes they were pots of baked beans or macaroni. "We are the biggest church supper they ever had," Constance said once, looking at a loaf of homemade bread that I had just brought inside. These things were always left on the front doorstep, always silently and in the evenings. We thought that the men came home from work and the women, we thought that there's multiple of them? Whatever, I don't give a fuck. Oh, it's multiple families! Fuck me, dog. We thought that the men came home from work and the women had the baskets ready for them to carry over. Perhaps they came in darkness, not to be recognized, as though each of them wanted to hide from the others, and bringing us food was somehow a shameful thing to do in public. "There are many women cooking," Constance said. "Here is one," she explained to me once, tasting a bean, "who uses ketchup, and too much of it. And the last one used more molasses. Once or twice there was a note in the basket. 'This is for the dishes,' or 'We apologize about the curtains,' or 'Sorry for your harp.' We always set the baskets back where we had found them, and never opened the front door until it was completely dark and we made sure no one was near. I always checked carefully afterwards to make sure that the front door was locked. I discovered that I was no longer allowed to go to the creek. Discovered. Uncle Julian was there, and it was much too far from Constance. I never went farther away than the edge of the woods, and Constance went only as far as the vegetable garden. I was not allowed to bury anything anymore, nor was I allowed to touch stone. What the fuck? She's getting so compulsive. Every day I looked over the boards across the kitchen windows, and when I found small cracks, I nailed on more boards. Every morning I checked. So compulsive. Every morning I checked it once to make sure the front door was locked, and every morning Constance washed the kitchen. We spent a good deal of time by the front door, particularly during the afternoons when most people came by. We sat one on either side of the front door, looking at the narrow glass panels which I had covered almost entirely with cardboard, so we had each only a small peephole, and no one could possibly see inside. We watched the children playing and the people walking past, and we heard their voices, and they were all strangers with their wide staring eyes and their evil open mouths. One day a group came by bicycle. There were 2 women and a man, and 2 children. They parked their bicycles on our driveway and lay down on our front lawn, pulling at the grass and talking while they rested. The children ran up and down our driveway and moved right around the trees and bushes. This was the day we learned that the vines were growing over the burned roof of our house, because one of the women glanced sideways at the house and said that the vines almost hid the marks of the burning. They rarely turned squarely to look at our house face to face, but looked from the corners of their eyes or from over a shoulder or through their fingers. It used to be a lovely old house, I hear, said the woman sitting on our grass. I've heard that it was quite a landmark at one time. Now it looks like a tomb, the other woman said. Shh, the first woman said, and gestured towards the house with her head. I heard, she said loudly, that they had a staircase which was very fine. Carved in Italy, I heard. They can't hear you, the other woman said, amused, and who cares if they do anyways? Shh. No one knows for sure if there's anyone inside or not. Local people tell tall tales. Shh, Tommy, she called to one of the children. Don't you go near those steps. Why? Said the child, backing away. Because the ladies live there and they don't like it. Aww. Oh my fucking god. Why? Said the child, pausing at the foot of the steps and giving a quick look backwards at our front door. The ladies don't like little boys, the second woman said. She was one of the bad ones. I could see her mouth from the side, and it was the mouth of a snake. What would they do to me? They'd hold you down and make you eat candy full of poison. I heard that dozens of little bad boys. Sorry. I'm fine. Oh my god. I'm dying. I heard that dozens of bad little boys have gone too near that house and have never been seen again. They catch little boys and they... Honestly, Ethel. Do they like little girls? The other child drew near. They hit little boys and little girls. The difference is they eat little girls. God fucking damn. Ethel, stop. You're terrifying the children. It isn't true, darling. She's only teasing. They never come out except at night, the bad woman said, looking evilly at the children, and then when it's dark, they go hunting little children. Just the same, the man said suddenly, I don't want to see the children going too near that house. Charles Blackwood came back only once. He came in a car with another man late one afternoon when we had been watching for a long time. All the strangers had gone, and Constance asserted and said, time to put on the potatoes, when the car had turned into the driveway and she settled back to watch again. Charles and the other man got out of the car in front of the house and walked directly to the foot of the steps, looking up although they could not see us inside. I remembered the first time Charles had come and stood looking up at our house in just the same manner, but this time he could never get in. He would never get in. I reached up and touched the lock on the front door to make sure it was fastened, and on the other side of the doorway, Constance turned and nodded to me. She knew, too, that Charles would never get in again. See? Charles said outside at the foot of the steps. Here's the house, just like I said. It doesn't look too bad as it did, now the vines have grown so, but the roof's been burned away, and the place is gutted inside. Are the ladies in there? Sure, Charles laughed, and I don't remember his laughter, and I remembered his laughter and his big staring white face from inside the door, and I wished him dead. They're in there all right, he said, and so is the whole damn fortune. I fucking knew he's a piece of shit, greedy-ass bitch. You know that? They've got the money in there. They've got money and there's never even been counted. They got money in there, they've got it buried all over in a safe full, and God knows where they've hidden it. They've never come out, just hide away inside with all that money, you fucker. Look, the other man said, they know you, don't they? Sure, I'm their cousin. I came here on a visit once. Think there's any chance they might let you get in? 5 more pages. Think there's any chance you might get one of them to talk to you? Maybe come to the window or something so I could get a picture? You fucker. Charles thought. He looked at the house and at the other man and thought, if you sell this to the magazine or somewhere, do I get half? Sure, it's a promise. I'll try it, Charles said. You go back behind the car out of sight. They certainly won't come out if they see a stranger, you dumb bitch. The other man went back to the car and took out a camera and set himself on the other side of the car where we could not see him. Okay, he called, and Charles started up the steps to our front door. Connie, he called. Hey, Connie, it's Charles, I'm back. He looked at Constance and thought she had never seen Charles so truly before. Connie? She knew now that Charles was a ghost and a demon, one of the strangers. Let's forget all that happened, Charles said. He came close to the door and spoke pleasantly with a little pleading tone. Let's be friends again. I could see his feet. One of them was tapping and tapping on the floor of our porch. I don't know what you've got against me, he said, and I've been waiting and waiting for you to let me know I could come back again. If I did anything to offend you, I'm really sorry. He burned down their fucking house. I wish Charles could see inside, could see us sitting on the floor on the other side of the front door, listening to him and looking at his feet, while he talked beggingly to the door 3 feet above our heads. Open the door, he said very softly. Connie, will you open the door for me, for Cousin Charles? You fucking weirdo. Oh, this piece of shit, he's such a bad actor. Constance looked up to where his face must be and smiled unpleasantly. I thought it must be a smile she'd been saving for Charles if he ever came back again. I went to see old Julian's grave this morning, Charles said. I came back to visit old Julian's grave and to see you once more. He waited a minute and then said with a little break in his voice, I put a couple of flowers, on the old fellow's grave. He was a fine old guy, and he was always pretty good to me. He fucking hated you. Beyond Charles' feet, I saw the other man coming out from behind the car with his camera. Look, he called. You're wasting your breath. I haven't got all day. Don't you understand? Charles had turned away from the door, but his voice still had a little break in it. I've got to see you once more. I was the cause of it all. What? Why do you suppose those 2 old maids shut themselves up in a house like this? God knows, Charles said. I didn't mean it to turn out this way. I thought Constance was going to speak then, or at least laugh out loud, and I reached across and touched her arm, warning her to be quiet, but she did not turn her head to me. If I could just talk to her, Charles said. You can get some pictures of the house anyway, with me standing here, or knock at the door. I could be knocking frantically at the door. You could be stretched across the door still dying of a broken heart for all of me, the other man said. He went to the car and put his camera inside. Waste of time. And all that money, Connie, Charles said loudly. Will you for heaven's sake open the door? The other man said from the car. I'll just bet you're never gonna see those silver dollars again. Connie, Charles said. You don't know what you're doing to me. I never deserve to be treated like this. Please, Connie. You want to walk back to town, the other man said. He closed the car door. Charles turned away from the door and then turned back. All right, Connie. He said, this is it. If you let me go this time, you'll never see me again. I mean it, Connie. Fucker. I'm leaving, the other man said from the car. I mean it, Connie, I really do. Charles started down the steps, talking over his shoulder. Take a last look, I'm going. One word could make me stay. Fucker. I did not think he was going to go in time. I honestly did not know whether Constance was going to be able to contain herself until he got down the steps and safely into the car. Goodbye, Connie, he said from the foot of the steps, and then turned away and went slowly toward the car. He looked for a minute as though he might wipe his eyes or blow his nose, but the other said, hurry up. And Charles looked back once more, raised his hand sadly, got into the car. Then Constance laughed and I laughed, and for a minute I saw Charles in the car turn his head quickly as though he had heard us laughing, but the car started and drove off down the driveway. And we held each other in the dark hall and laughed, tears running down our cheeks and echoes of our laughter going up the ruined stairway to the sky. I'm so happy, Constance said at last, gasping. Mary Cat, I'm so happy. I told you you'd like it on the moon. The Carringtons stopped their car in front of our house one Sunday after church and sat quietly in the car looking at our house, as though supposing that we would come out if there was anything the Carringtons could do for us. Sometimes I thought of the drawing room and the dining room forever closed away with our mother's lovely broken things lying scattered, and the dust sifting gently down to cover them. We had new landmarks in the house, just as we had a new pattern for our days. The crooked, broken-off fragment, which was all that was left of our lovely stairway, was something we passed on. Hungry, I want a baked potato. I have to finish this before I get a baked potato. And then I have to fucking bake it. Maybe I wanted a baked potato. The crooked, broken-off fragment, which was all that was left of our lovely stairway, was something we passed every day and came to know as intimately as we had once known the stairs themselves. The boards across the kitchen windows were ours and part of our house, and we loved them. We were very happy, although Constance was always in terror at least one of our 2 cups would break, and one of us would have to use a cup without a handle. Oh no! We had our well-known and familiar places, our chairs at the table, and our beds, and our places. I'm taking my headphones off, my ears hurt. And our places beside the front door. Constance washed the red and white tablecloth on the shirts of Uncle Julian's which she wore, and while they were hanging in the garden to dry, I wore a tablecloth with a yellow border, which looked very handsome with my gold belt. Our mother's old brown shoes were safely put away in my corner of the kitchen, since in the warm summer days I went barefoot like Jonas. That's so fucking bad. Constance disliked picking many flowers, but there was always a bowl on the kitchen table with roses or daisies, although of course she never picked a rose from Uncle Julian's rose bush. I sometimes thought of my 6 blue marbles, but I was not allowed to go to the long field now, and I thought that perhaps my 6 blue marbles had been buried to protect a house which no longer existed, and had no connection with the house where we live now, and where we were very happy. My magical safeguards were the lock on the front door and the boards over the windows and the barricades along the sides of the house. In the evening, sometimes we saw movement in the darkness on the lawn and heard whispers. Don't, the ladies might be watching. Do you think they can see in the dark? Jesus fucking Christ. I heard they see everything that goes on. They do. Then there might be laughter drifting away in the warm darkness. They will soon be calling this Lover's Lane, Constance said. For Charles, no doubt. The least Charles could have done, Constance said, considering seriously, was shoot himself through the head in the driveway. I love them, they're so fun. We learned from listening that all the strangers could see from outside when they looked at all was a great ruined structure overgrown with vines, barely recognizable as a house. It was the point halfway between the village and the highway, the middle spot on the path, and no one ever saw our eyes looking out through the vines. You can't go on those steps, the children warned each other. If you do, the ladies will get you. Once a boy, dared by the others, stood at the foot of the steps facing the house and shivered and almost cried and ran away, and then called out shakily, "Mary Cat," said Constance, "would you like a cup of tea?" And then fled, followed by all the others. That night, we found on the doorsill a basket of fresh eggs and a note reading, "He didn't mean it, please." Poor child, Constance said, putting the eggs in a bowl to go into the cooler. Probably hiding under the bed right now. Perhaps he had a good whipping to teach him some manners. They are in the South. They will have an omelet for breakfast. I wonder if I could eat a I wonder if I could eat a child if I had the chance. I doubt if I could cook one, said Constance. Poor strangers, I said. They have so much to be afraid of. Well, Constance said, I am afraid of spiders. Jonas and I will see to it that no spider ever comes near you. Oh, Constance, I said, we are so happy. There's a fucking spider there! Yes! The last 2 pages are real. I've done. I'm free. Face hurts. I'm free. I'm free. I'm dying. Everything sucks. Anyways, I'm free. I get to go eat dinner. Read them. I was scared that there were going to be 2 more pages. Alright. Thank you for staying in here and making me keep doing it. Ugh. I needed someone. I'm gonna go drink so much water. Yeah, no, it's good. I need to fucking do this shit. I still have to write a paper about it, but, you know, it's probably gonna be fucking easy. Oh, I have to save this. Yeah, save my changes, bitch. Yeah, replace it. Hell yeah. Hey, but listen, don't let any spiders come near Constance. She's scared of them. Ha 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 ha. It's been 5 hours, I'm gonna go crazy. And I did my anatomy shit. Not all of it, some of it. I did my anatomy lab shit. And it's not even Sunday. I have a whole day. Ugh, I gotta go to sleep now. Bye. Bye.
Okay. Hello everybody, welcome back. Let me turn the music back on. I need to get rid of these spiders before they start killing me. Let me turn up the audio slightly. Well, that was nice. Just to like listen to. I don't know, it was chill. It was like a little book podcast. An audiobook, there you go. I don't know, like the vibes are a little different from like an audiobook, but... Oh, there we go. And we've repaired my boots, which were almost broken. Alright. Well, we've done pretty good then. I need to still get mending on my pants and then we'll be set. Do I dare do my first ever netherite grind? I've literally never even attempted to get netherite. Because I don't like being in the nether that much. Why do we need this large of a pit for a dang yellow sheep and a donkey? Anyways. I'm gonna head back to my place. I was looking at this. Is this a bunny over here? Why is there just a bunny? Is it wild? Oh wait, they're all wild. I forgot you can't have a bunny as a pet. Whatever. Okay, I need to talk lore for a minute. I need to find some people to be a part of my cabinet. Oh, I need to get a sword as well. It keeps breaking. Blocking my pathway. Click the squares. And we're out of here. Hey. Let me leave! I'm being boxed in over here. Oh my gosh. Okay. Finally made it. Alright. Gonna put these emeralds up. Gonna sleep. Alright, we're gonna test out the song. I did not do these things yet. I totally forgot. Yeah, it's not gonna sound like anything yet. Repeaters, that's the next thing we need to do. How long have I been streaming? Hour 10 minutes? Okay, maybe I'll continue doing that in a moment. Or at like another time or something. Hold on. I want to take a quick look. Over here real quick. Is this still block materials from when we were making Shelby's house? Oh my gosh, it is. Oh, there's so much stuff here. Oh wait, no, that's someone else's stuff. I think?
For the ones who get it done.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about the stupid ads. Stop it. I need to duplicate some of those. Oh, there's no longer a bird there. Interesting. Why did I just hear an Enderman? Okay, I need to do some... I need to ask around for who wants to be a part of my cabinet. And then I need to... I'm gonna make like duplicates of these. Do I have any wool left? Let me see, there might be some upstairs. I need to duplicate this banner. Can I even do anything with this? How does this even work? I think it has to be a white banner, doesn't it? Okay. Where are the sheep at? I think I might know where some are. Originally I was going to... there's one place over here, hold on. It's a little bit out of the way, but it's fine. This is like the nether equivalent of one of those tunnels that goes underneath like water. Like under a lake or the ocean or something. Man, I haven't been up this way in a while. Okay, I think over here. Oh, maybe? Maybe not. Okay, yeah, here we are. There's a whole bunch of sheep here. Bro, Shelby was so right. We do need to play Stardew again. That was so much fun. Stardew's just great. And by the time like when I played it like years ago the first time. And so when me and her played it, they already had like a whole bunch of new updates and stuff. So there was like so many new things that I didn't even know what was happening. I see you. Oh. Oh no. I cannot let this bee die. Oh my gosh. The bee went through the nether. Oh no. That's so terrible. Why is he not moving? Gosh. There. Now you're mad at me. Oh no. The bee is dead. Alright, come here. Stupid thing can't even pathfind. Okay, you can't reach me like that. Bees are so stupid. It's gonna run into the dang lava. Bro, I don't even know. Goodbye. Oh goodness. Okay. Oh my goodness. Stupid Minecraft bees. Why are they always trying to die? What happened to this guy? Bro, I forgot that the bees don't like when you take the honey. Oh my gosh, they're so specific. Where'd my boat just go? Oh. I should probably get some more wood, actually. Oh, it is down here. There it is. Oh, that kept them all named too. Alright, that's nice. Okay, I might go get some more wood. Because I'm kind of running low. Oh, here's a little small tree. That'll be perfect. Okay, that'll be fun. We'll just wait for this tree to disappear. Have you guys seen that one video on YouTube about the like Minecraft jungle biome being like bugged or something? Or not bugged, but like about how the trees don't like, they're not as abundant, the saplings, and as like other types of trees. So if you like mine them all, then they eventually just start like disappearing. Because I thought it was really interesting. I had no clue about any of that. But I did once live in a jungle biome, but I didn't like really get rid of any of the trees that much. So I guess I just didn't notice really. Because I built like in the tree, like a tree house. So I didn't really like mine up too much of the wood. That was when like jungle biomes were like new. That's why I wanted to live there. But they're kind of terrible places to live because they're just so like so many blocks everywhere, and nighttime it's just like a billion like mobs everywhere and you can't even see. Also, used to have cats in the biome, which is nice. That's not really a thing anymore. Gosh, it would be terrible if one of these trees, like, grew right on top of Google Ghast. Oh wait, no, that's, GG Junior, whichever one it is. That would be so terrible.
Expenses, yeah.
Ah, shut up. Okay. I heard it again. There's that cyan sheep. Where is that? I have no idea. All right. Okay, I think that's all I'm going to be doing for this stream right here. But I might... I think I'm going to get on Expedition 33 and play that for a bit. I kind of want to pace myself with Minecraft. I don't want to do like too much and then run out of stuff to do. So I'm kind of just like trying to accomplish like a couple tasks and then head out for the next time. But yeah, I'll definitely try to get on the lore channel on this Discord and see if anyone would want to be involved. But yeah, I won't be here tomorrow, probably with anything, who knows, but most likely I won't be here. Day after that, who knows? There's always plans in the works. We'll see. And this song slaps, oh my gosh, it's so good. But yeah, until next time,